Welcome back to the Sick Boys Podcast. I'm your host, JD Denim, across the way, looking buff and ripped. You're looking very ripped these days, bro. I've been looking at your pictures. Justin Wenzel, my buddy. What is up, dude?
Dude,
Mr. Chiseled. You are
it's crazy.
Chiseled.
The
I've
lightest,
been seeing the
lightest
pics,
I've
dog.
been, dude. Lightest I've been since freshman year of high school.
Yeah, geez. I love it. Just
It's
keep
so
going,
it's
baby.
crazy. It's crazy too, because like my strength is like if I weigh 270 pounds. I mean, you've trained with me, but like even still, like I'm stronger now than I was when you and I were training, and I'm lighter by like 10 pounds.
Yeah.
um it's wild, like the protocol that I'm on and everything that I've been doing. My diet's obviously perfect, it's always perfect. But yeah, this is just insane, and the way I fit in clothes, and now I'm just like long and lean, and I feel good, man.
Hell yeah, dude. There's something about, like, I mean, you know me, I love these types of shirts. I don't care if anybody does or not. I like it because it's comfortable as shit and my arms look good in it. And like, I don't care. I'm comfortable as shit. And like, it's good to be able to fit in shirts like this and look good, dude. Like, like you got to
Yeah,
work for that shit. I was funny.
yeah.
I looked at a video the other day, before I started taking Retta, right? And I was super good shape. And I remember I was in super good shape. But like now I look back at that and I'm like, I was a little bit pudgy, dude. Like, for me, I mean, I say that lightly because, like, for most, no, but like, I was like super pudgy compared to like Reddit bro. That shit is just a damn scientific
Oh,
breakthrough. It is
I
just
love it. Yeah,
insane, bro.
I don't think I'll ever
It's
stop
insane.
using that.
It's the crazy shit too. Is it's like not even like that's not even like it's probably the best part for sure because it keeps you lean as shit. But like, dude, like the brain power, the focus,
Oh yeah.
it is in freaking insane.
Yeah,
Well,
there's
that's kind
nothing
of a
better.
segue into I'm curious about because I know you and your soon to be bride are kind of starting to dip your toe in that. She does um TRT pellets.
Yeah, well,
Yes?
yeah, and amongst a bunch of other things. Yeah, so
Sure, sure. But
she
like
has her own facility. She
that's
does
cool.
hormone HRT pellets, and like age management and stuff like that. She's has a
So
clinic
cool.
of her own. And yeah, so we both have a passion for wellness. Obviously, she's shredded. I mean,
Yeah.
it's insane. It's insane when I watch her train and stuff. She's like has no body fat. She's had two kids. She's in her 40s,
Yeah.
and is like literally just like she could step on stage like at all times and eat
Yeah.
whatever she wants.
Totally.
She's a freak of nature. But I was just like, I was like, we wanted to start doing peptides and things like that. Like we wanted to start getting into that whole deal.
Mhm.
But we were like, we don't want to be like everybody else, and like just and on top of that, like I'm in this industry, like I know how meta works and how they like to suppress and
Yeah.
restrict, and in worst case scenario shut you down for talking about this stuff. But
Yep.
there are things that we can talk about. So I was like, why don't
Yep.
we just kind of share our journey,
Mhm.
excuse me, and talk about what we do together and individually to keep our bodies so great, and keep ourselves so healthy, and what it does in our relationship, and how we support each other, you get it, you do the same thing with your wife, and
Yeah, man.
because like it is like that's my she's my partner, and she's my business partner. And so yeah, we just wanted to start sharing our stuff, and we just one day at brunch I was like, why don't we just start an Instagram together, and just start filming each other. We'll keep it raw. Like it's funny because and this, and some of our listeners may know this too, but like my media director, no offense Mario who's listening to this, my media director is like the number one videographer, editor, all of it, like in Orange County. Like I have the best of the best, and he moved to Arizona with me. He's
Mhm.
at my beck and call at all times, like as my best friend, but as my he does everything. He does everything for me. And I said, you know what? We're not even going to use him for this. We're going to film each other. We are going to treat the like no mics. We're not going to do
That's rad.
anything professional. We're going to
That's
do
cool.
everything just raw and us in real time and just talk about what we do in our bodies, and then that will be our marketing tool for peptides. Well, you see the orders, but like, and it's just like insane, like how much response we're getting to where people are just like that approach. And it was like, it was just an idea I had where it was like, listen, I have built more marketing funnels. I have built more coaching businesses. I have built more than anybody that any of us know personally. I've had my hand involved in more personal brands than I can even count. Okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's one thing that I've never done? And I've never done something purely just in the moment, authentic and raw. Like
Oh
it's
wow.
always been like professionally shot and like thought
Yeah.
out and like you
That's cool. Okay,
scripted
that's
and
different. Yeah, because that's definitely how I started. Was the raw as shit. I didn't know what I
y-
was doing. I think
yep.
with I think with today's world, where I can tell you like my experience of like me doing all that stuff up until maybe shoot when you and I started hanging out, I saw the difference in regards to what Freddie would send, and that was kind of the I guess the catalyst to me getting a videographer. And but I'll tell you, like, do my videos do better? I mean, I'm pretty damn good at some editing too, bro. I've gotten really good, and like I'm pretty creative and stuff. But like, dude, the ones I do a hell of a lot better than the videographer. Now the videographers are crisp as shit, and I'm not even taking away from what he does. I think people are just craving freaking real right now.
Right. No, 100% they are. And that's kind of my thought process behind this. Right. I literally, dude, when we post and edit and we put stuff up, I forget everything I know. I'm
Yeah,
actually really good at editing videos. I've been doing it for years and years and years, but I
yeah,
literally forget everything I know, and I just like pretend like this is my first time doing it every single time. And I like it's imperfect. It's imperfect. I fuck up chops. I fuck up
yeah.
transitions on
Oh, dude,
purpose. Like
I always
I
leave
just,
shit in there. I leave fucking
yeah.
mistakes all the time. So it's you probably see we haven't talked in a bit, but I did another podcast with this new girl that this has been in my mind since this is how I got into podcasts was doing a man's perspective and a woman's perspective. It was a great idea I had, and it was the genesis of podcasts. I didn't even know I would love it so much. So I've been thinking about it, knowing I would bring it back to life when it was ready. So I found the gal that I thought would be great. So it's been great. Like we got a huge ass argument yesterday on the podcast because that's what it's about. It's polarizing shit. Men and women are completely different, and yesterday proved it. And it's funny, but the point of that is this: like I sit down like you and I, we don't ever even talk about what we're talking about until, hey, what do we want to talk about? Right. So you and I are so good at that. But like most people, like she wants to know what we're talking about and she studies. And like, I'm like, dude, you can tell you what, you choose the subjects. I will sit down and I'll think about it when we sit. I don't give a shit. It's a conversation to me. Like,
So,
I don't care about any of that. I'm not gonna
so
like
let me,
study statistics and shit. No.
no, and that's not fun. It's actually not fun to listen to. The unless like it's like a very specific topic that like you want to hear and learn and stuff like that. It's very
Yeah.
boring.
Yeah.
This is, and I don't know if we've ever played this before. But there's a game that Jay Ferrugia and I play when we're at lunch, dinner, whatever. We'll be in a restaurant. We'll be like yelling at each other in the middle of the restaurant when we start playing this game, and
Okay.
it works like this. Okay, if you and I go pick a word. And you cannot hesitate. You just have to say the first word that comes to mind, right? We go one, two, three, and you both say this. You both say a
Dog.
word. Okay, dog, hat. Okay, so
Okay.
dog and hat. Okay, and then you have to think of the first word that comes to mind with dog and hat. Like what two word? Like if you think of those two words, what's the first thing that you think
Oh,
of?
wow. That's crazy.
And then you go one, two, three, and then what you're trying to do is say the same exact word. Okay,
Oh, I got it.
so
Okay,
for
so you're
example,
the
like
objective is to kinda, like, mind melt.
right. So like we had a fucking awesome one day
Yeah,
when
that's
when
fun.
it was actually, it's funny that because it was beard and hat. And then we were like, one, two, three, Abe Lincoln. And we both said Abe Lincoln at the same
Shut up.
exact time.
Oh my god, that's
Right.
funny. Oh,
So,
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
you know what I mean?
That's
Because
funny.
beard and hat.
Yeah.
But the point is that most people, when you go to play that game, you'll be like, all right, you ready? One, two, three. And you'll say your word, and the other person will be like, and they can't
Yeah.
even think of one fucking word.
Wow.
They can't even think of a word, any word. It doesn't
Right.
matter because they get
Right.
so caught up in indecisive in their head, they can't even think of a word.
That's
How
funny.
can you
True
not just
that.
feel like any word? Sign, elf,
Right.
Santa,
Right.
mustard, hot dog, right? Like,
Right.
why can't you just think of a word, any word? It doesn't matter. It can be any
Yeah.
word, but people get so consumed with their thoughts that they
Well, you
can't
know
do
what
it. And
it
the whole,
is? It's so many people are worried about like either what people think or what they think or
yeah,
that will
is
they
it the
sound
right word,
stupid or you
right?
think they're
Is it the right
stupid, all
word?
this like things that don't even freaking matter. And it's like, it's like the guy's like, I've got a buddy of mine that's been saying that he's going to do this fitness stuff forever. And he's kind of dabbling, but it's like always like, I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready. And I'm like, I love him to death. And I hope he doesn't hear this, but I'm going to be straight up like, freaking do it, dude. I'm sick of like, dude, what are you waiting for? Like, he's like, how do you get over like caring what people think? I'm like, I don't give a shit, dude, ever. I don't
Because
care.
caring what people think never paid the bills.
Dude, I don't know, man. I guess I'm just cut from a different cloth. I don't care. Like, like, I don't even know these people anyway. Why would I care about their opinion? You know what I mean? I don't know them.
Oh, yeah, no, that's so funny.
But hey, most
Uh,
do, man. Most people are like, you know, whatever. Each his own, I guess.
no, and it is what it is. And so, which actually, speaking of not caring about people's opinions, so yeah, like I wanted to talk about something heavy today, that
Yeah.
might spark some controversy, might maybe make people unfollow us, and if that's the case, then do it. But at the end of the day, this is what I've observed. I
Bro,
know
I
that
got,
you've
you know how
obs-
many people unfollowed me after I dropped that? It was me writing just something up about the fact that I didn't watch football on Super Bowl
oh,
because I stopped watching after they kneeled. That's just my true opinion. I don't give a shit what you do. That's just what I
oh
did.
yeah,
And like I
yeah.
really didn't watch the Super Bowl. And that was the thing. Oh my God, I got so much hate mail in my comments. Like, why do you give a shit what I do? Like, if my comment, like my post, like affected you that much to where one, you're even commenting on it, and two, you're letting me know that you're unfollowing me. Pretty
Yeah, you
self-righteous, isn't
won.
it? I'm gonna
Sorry, but
unfollow you. Well, thank you, bro.
Yeah,
No,
JD
please
wins.
don't
Yeah.
go. Yeah, don't know,
Um,
bro. Like, don't go, please. You know what I mean? Like, fuck off, dude.
I actually, it's funny.
Whatever, dude.
I wrote a post similar. I just said wearing a jersey with another man's name on your back is gay. And that got people who went, what
Oh,
the,
bro,
and like people got so triggered. And it's so funny because
that
like, oh my
sounds
God,
more intense than mine. You know what I
yeah, well,
mean?
yeah, it was a long one too. It
Oh,
was a long post where it was like cheering for somebody to win while you sit there fat and lose is a problem. Like you need to wake up and just talk
bro,
about how sports
if
fandom is
I
what it is.
ever care about like anything to the degree where I start leaving like hateful comments and angry comments and all the shit that we get, you have my right as one of my
Yeah,
best
I
friends
won't
I love
let
and to
you.
smack the shit out of me, bro.
I
You have the
will.
right to smack me
I
like
will.
you're being a bitch. You know what I mean? No,
But let's
bro.
talk about that
Please
because
God, don't ever
that's
let me get
actually
there.
a perfect that's a perfect segue into this conversation because your preferences do change. So this is a perfect example, right? Sports fandom. If and this, I'm not talking about all sports fans, but the ones that I see, and I go to games. I love going to baseball games. It's like one of my favorite things like to attend. I was and it's funny because I was actually at the 2 years ago. I was at the Lions San Francisco playoff game, and because I grew up in Michigan, and I I was a Lions fan growing up. That was like what I had to do, and I observe a lot because I like to people watch, and maybe you can call me judgmental or whatever. But what I noticed was a bunch of fat guys in jerseys that looked fucking pathetic, and they get
My
so
team.
serious. But my
Yeah.
team and yeah and like and whatever, but I look back and I think about it is like when was I used to be like that, right? Like I wasn't like that big of a sports fan, but a big enough sports fan to like, but when I was actually engaged in the games, and when I was actually cared about the outcomes, and when I actually like wore a jersey or sport clothes or whatever, what was the quality of my life then? I was bored, I was drinking, I was
Mm,
fat, I didn't have any like sense of like self-worth or responsibility. So what did I do? I attached myself, my identity to things that were completely out of my control. Right. So I became a sports fan because everybody else that was fat, bored, hated their wives, whatever. They were also sports fans, so that's what I found myself connecting with. And then all of a sudden, I get invested into personal development. I take responsibility for my actions. I get sober. I start to become what I consider a man, and suddenly I get complete my preference towards sports completely shifted. I didn't give a fuck about it. And then it got even worse where I thought it was fucking stupid.
Yeah.
But if you would have asked myself, if you would have asked me, back when in my drinking days, like it was cool. Go to the bar, watch the game with your buddies, yell at the screen, blah 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 blah. And now I
Mm.
look at it and I'm like, that's fucking retarded. So that's one preference that really shifted for me, and it shifts for a lot of guys. I know a lot of guys that I've worked with that are coaches now, and they'll even talk about it. Like, yeah, I used to like sports too when I was fat and stupid. And now that I've taken responsibility for my life and developed self-worth, I actually have a routine schedule that I stick to, and I don't, and I keep promises to myself. I've lost interest in all of that. And it's like,
Mm.
okay, that's one thing, and that's true. And that happens to a lot of people when they actually start to win themselves. They don't need to spend time watching other people try to win,
I
which is
know. I
pathetic.
mean, that's I've never ever even like looked at the lenses like that. That's interesting. That's definitely
Oh yeah.
requires some thought. I've just never heard it put down that way. I mean, I've never cared about the sports of anybody that I don't know on the team. So why would I give a shit? I've just never, even in high school, my dad would be like, "Why don't you watch football?" I'm like, I don't know anybody on the team. Like, why would I care who wins? Like when I go watch a football game, like at high school, I know who wins. Like I know people, so like that's what I'll cheer for them. Like other than that. I don't know, I just never got into it, dude. I never got
Well,
into
yeah,
it.
and
Never
and
in my
and
life.
if you never, and if it was never a part of your life and never a part of your interest to begin with, then you might have not fallen into that realm. But like I can tell you right now, like with dealerships, like they have like they're in the
Big
showroom,
deal,
they'll
yeah.
have their fantasy football leagues, and they'll all get together, and it's like a night away from their wives. They'll get hammered. Like I was that guy. I know. My own stores, we did that all the time. And now looking back at it, I'm like, oh, what, why, like, what's the sense? And you're that miserable that you have to like literally like be that distracted and then like at work everyone's talking about, oh my god, I'll trade your running back for this, and I want to, and you're like, dude,
That sounds like hell,
fag.
bro. Oh, man.
um but again, how many of those guys that I've met that years later that get obsessed with like the gym and training and falling in love with reading and their routine and all that, they completely abandon that entire facade. It's like it becomes stupid to them, and and
Wow.
and that goes
That's
for a lot of
interesting.
other things. But you know what, you want to know what one that I have noticed the most?
Tell me.
Political affiliation.
Off of, like, self-improvement?
100%. When a man who once more leaned more left was what was would have considered themselves liberal, Democrat, whatever. When these men, and I see it all over the place, when they fall in love with personal development, taking responsibility for themselves, they start to get real responsibilities. They start to see the fruits of their labor and all of the work that they have, and they start to want to protect that. They tend to turn far more conservative, and I know somebody very very well that happened to. Do you want to know who it is?
Who?
Me. It was me. When I was a fucking
Touche.
victim, when I was a victim douchebag, when I was constantly stuck in my way, when I was fat, when I leaned so left it was stupid. When I had nothing better to do than complain about things, than think that everybody was out to get me, to think that like, oh, like whatever, I wanted to think about equality and all these things because I wasn't competitive. I didn't give a fuck about things. My testosterone was low. I leaned left.
Wow,
When
that's
I
crazy.
started to take responsibility for my life, when I started to accomplish stuff, when I started to actually make money and become self-employed and own a business and have employees and actually care about all of the things that actually matter, family and like values and things like that. My whole entire perspective, my preferences, everything changed. It was all of a sudden more about family values, more about God, and like being a better person, and like protecting and whatever. It was so much like it was like this level of like personal responsibility and personal awareness, right? And accountability, right? And everybody that I know that is like a bleeding liberal, they have no accountability for anything. It's the world's out to get them. It's this, that, and the other thing, and it's like victim, victim, victim. But all of a sudden, you see these guys, and they start to watch Joe Rogan, right? They start to learn about they start to learn about what it is to be a man. They start to become more, they become, their testosterone increases, right? They become more competitive. They become more protective. They become men, right? Like real men. Now all of a sudden it's like, your entire preference towards like what you once cared about because you thought it was the right thing, you open your eyes and you realize that it wasn't the right thing. You were just fucking bored. You needed a
I
reason to
hear. I mean, that's
argue.
a very,
You-
very, very, very interesting thought process, and I've never even looked at it like that. Now, I have definitely dug into the side where testosterone plays a big role in, and I am not liberal or conservative. I am apolitical because I don't give a shit. They both are liars. I would lean more conservative because it just aligns with like I'm just a dude, like kind of more of an alpha type male. But that's more the that's more what you're talking about. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Where it's like where in regards to I've never looked from it through the standpoint of like self-improvement, but let's break it down for a second so I can get where you're at because I mean, my observation, if we talk about right and left, I don't see any ripped guys on the left or very few. They're gangly, overweight, and they're just not
Soy boy
like
beta
the dudes
cucks.
at the gym, like, getting after shit. I mean, again, I've never looked at the world through these eyes, but it's definitely I can get there just because of the fact if you just look logically, I don't know any. Do you know any buff liberal guys? All my liberal fans, not one of them is ripped. Not one.
No, no, no. And again, even about like not even about their like physical appearance. And again, it is a
Well, kind of, because you're talking about self-improvement. So if it's self-improvement, it
yeah,
is for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. Yeah, I think I honestly I think one is you're in a. Have you ever tried to like reason with a liberal?
Oh my God, dude. I had a company called Unwoke. Like, I did
So,
it for a year. Oh
what
man,
was
it's
like
hell.
what was like everything that our now president like ran on common sense, right? Like what's common sense? Like no, there shouldn't be men in women's sports, right? Like it's common sense. And then you try to reason with a liberal, and it's like talking to a baby. It's like talking to a child.
You can't. Like, so I'll give you a different example of what you're talking about. So when I got divorced from my ex-wife, right? Like the way that she was raising my daughter when I wasn't there's all these things that didn't match, and we would freaking fight about everything, right? And like she would just come out of left field with all this crazy shit, right? And I would be like, "What is this? Is insane! Like I can't even believe it. We're talking about this." But the thing that I had to I finally had to find peace in, and I finally once I caught up to this perspective, I never even had a problem with it because I realized what the problem is, which is that's her truth. Like she really does believe this. It doesn't matter how insane it is. Like that is her truth. Doesn't matter if it's the truth. That's her truth. And to her, she'll fight it tooth and nail because like that's to her, like she's like looking at this thing that's green. That's how like her you know what I mean? And it's the same shit with like like arguing with a liberal minded person. It's like I don't even do it anymore, dude. I don't even
No,
open those
because you
doors.
can't. Because have you ever tried? Well, have you ever tried? Like you have young boys. Have you ever tried to
Yeah.
reason?
Oh, I did it for
Have
a
you ever?
while, dude, and, like, I like, it you like, 1, I don't like arguing with people. 2, I don't like getting to the point
Well,
where
what I'm
anybody
saying
has the
is
power
your.
over
I'm
me to
talking
get
about
it frustrated.
I'm talking about
Huh?
your sons. I'm talking about your sons. Could you imagine trying to reason with them,
Oh,
like little
like being
kids?
4 years old?
Yeah, like logical.
Like, yeah, dude, like, he thinks he can climb on the roof and, like, be Peter Pan, and he probably thinks he can fly. You know what
Well,
I mean?
yeah, like you can't
Right?
reason with a child, right?
"No,
And
son, you're
what's the
not. That's a movie." You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, yeah, and you can't reason with a child, right? But what like a child lacks accountability, a child lacks like just like a self-awareness,
Kinda common sense
and
to a
common
degree.
sense. And the reason that when you do try to reason with a liberal, they get angry, like really angry. A lot of them, okay, and I know that I did
Full
too,
name.
and all my liberal friends back then, we would get angry, fired up. Bernie Sanders is going to do this, and you're like, okay, and you're like, you start caring about like people that you don't like really care about at all. Like it's just
Yeah.
because you want to associate with a party. Well, I once heard somebody say that confused minds get really angry. And for somebody to think it's okay for a man to play in women's sports, well, you're confused. You are a confused mind. So it shouldn't be a surprise that everything else pisses you off because you're just fucking confused. And if you start to, what's the best way to like build confidence and structure and all of the things that would pull you away from a state of confusion to where you would accept things that make no fucking sense?
Bro,
Well,
I don't even like, I can't even believe that's even conversations in the world.
well,
Right?
100%.
Like, that's
But
so,
but
like, illogical to the degree where, like, that was the genesis of me starting the company during COVID. Unwoke was about that. It wasn't, I'm not prejudiced, I'm not this, I'm not that. Unwoke was my statement as, dude, confused dude, dressed as a woman, is not going into a woman's bathroom because my wife might be in there or your wife might be in there. Like, that
yeah.
shit ain't happening on my watch.
Well,
That was
and
it.
you want to know what's funny is that during COVID, my liberal friends were stoked to not have to go to work. My conservative friends and all the business owners were pissed off. Like, we want to get to work. We want to, like, what the fuck?
Shocker.
Shocker.
Does that surprise you?
Like again,
Yeah.
no, and again, and I was actually pretty, I was actually, I leaned kind of left back then, and
Wow, that's
but I
crazy. Did you
also,
really?
was,
Wow.
yeah, but I also was, we owned businesses, and I wanted to be at work, and that's really one of the biggest reasons that I jumped ship was because of COVID, was because of the way it was managed and handled. It was really bad. And so like to watch like industries get shut down and stuff over like something that was a complete fucking scheme.
I guess that's like for me, like I didn't own a business to the degree where like let's say I had a hat shop, right? Where I had to shut my doors because it wasn't a necessity, right? But let's just say let's use a hypothetical for a second. I owned a hat shop right before COVID, right? And then I'm in downtown LA, super liberal area, and they tell me that I don't have a right to provide for my family. And like I don't, this is not Billy Badass or I'm trying to prove a point here. Like I don't give a shit what you think you say to me. I'm keeping my freaking doors open. I'll go to jail if that really is what it takes, because not because I want to go to jail. Like I'm dying on this hill. You do
Right.
not, nobody has the right to tell me I do not have a way. I don't have a right to provide for my family. I would have kept the doors open, and it's not because I'm a badass. It's because you do not have the right to ever tell me that I can't provide for my family. It's not fucking happening, bro. Like, I don't care. But
No,
is that more of a conservative mind? Sure, sure. But like, again, I don't care what mindset it is. It's just plain and simple not happening, you know?
no,
But
right.
like, oh
No.
my God, people are like losing their minds over people that did that. And I'm like, dude, okay, so there were places that did, that you heard about it in the news, at least in Orange County. I would call them up and send them money. Hey, I think what you guys are rad here. Pay this to your wait staff. There was a company in San Clemente that opened up a restaurant, and they were the first ones
We're
that
on a
did it.
podcast, babe.
It was on the news, and I called them up and I said, here's $400. Like, disperse it through your waiting staff. Not because I'm a good guy, because that's badass, dude. That's punk rock.
Yeah.
Like, no, you can't tell me I can't open my business. I don't know who the hell like you think you are. I'm like, sorry.
Christina's being featured on the Boys podcast right now. Here she
What's up,
is.
Christina? What's up, girl? It's
We were
always good to
actually,
have our brides on there. They're better looking than us.
they are, you know what? We were having this conversation last night too about like feminism, same exact conversation where it was like, again, like how your preferences shift or how you start to like wake up when you start to like really pour into yourself. And yeah, just funny.
Well, we were talking about it off camera briefly, which was funny because we were talking about how, in my opinion, like punk rock is like, to me, punk rock is not liberal, because like it's like, fuck you, bro. I'm not shutting my doors. I do not care what you say. That's punk rock. And it's, you know
Right.
what I mean? That to me is punk rock. Like, dude, it's against what you're not going to tell me
But
what to do.
that's how the left, that's how liberals used to be. Like I was a punk rock liberal. I was like a stick it to the man, fuck the police, like blah, like that was like the liberal that was like cool back then. Now, now it's different, right? Because it's revolt. It's not punk rock whatsoever. It's defending things that are just fucking weird. And so many guys also too, by the way, so many guys that are punk rock that would have been considered left leaning punkers are now far more conservative. Even Joe Rogan used to be a Democrat, used to be a liberal, and he became a
Sure.
conservative, right? Like the guys that had that punk rock attitude back in the 90s, it all shifted. And it all shifted when we literally saw communism shut our doors down, make us stay at home, make us not be able to see our loved ones, so on and so forth. Like now punk rock is like, fuck that, you're not going to tell me what I can do, what I can't do, like
Fuck yeah.
and it's all of a sudden, as people who lean more conservative, we ended up becoming the punk rockers. The guys who kept their gyms open, right, were
Yeah,
the punk
yeah, dude.
rockers,
I could
right,
send him money
right.
too. The guy from East Coast. Hell yeah. I was like, here, man. Here's a
Yeah,
couple bucks, dude.
yeah.
Rock and roll, bro. But it's funny
So
though, we
my,
were
I
talking about
guess,
that. We were talking about Green Day, we're talking about No Facts, we're talking about Bad Religion. Those are like some of the biggest punk rock bands, but they're super liberal, dude. I mean,
yeah,
I always trip out on it.
they are, and it's just interesting that's still considered punk rock, because it's not to me. It's just not, and
Because of the
I still love
music or
all.
because of like their statements? What do you mean?
Well, I just don't see, I don't see the control, like right, because punk rock was supposed to be like anarchy, right? Like you don't control me.
Yeah. Blue hair, like
Um,
you say I can't have blue hair, I'm gonna have blue hair.
right,
Social
right. But
D.
now, right, but now you have blue. Now people have blue hair to fit in with, um,
Right.
but punk, yeah, punk rock, punk rock would have been like, okay, there's an airborne illness out there. You're telling me to close the doors to my business. Fuck you. I'm punk rock. I'm not going to do that. Right. But now punk rock, these punk rockers are like comply, comply, comply.
I know.
Right.
I
And that's,
know.
and right. And that's not punk rock.
It's funny
Right.
too because I guess because you and I were talking off before we started recording, I believe, or maybe it was when we were recording. But anyway, like about the post that I did about the football, and I got just blasted by dipshits, and like it's funny because I'm not using that same viewpoint, I guess. So it's a little bit hypocritical, but I still like Green Day. I still like Bad Religion. I still love
Oh
No
no, I do
Effects.
too.
So it's like, but I definitely, don't agree with the way
Well,
they're living.
the old saying, like you
Green Day,
never want to
Billy
meet.
Joe's a little bitch. Like, bro,
Yeah.
please
Yeah.
stop. Sing, bro. Shut up, please.
What's funny is like they say like you never want to meet your idols, right? Like because they'll just disappoint you. And so like
Ain't that
that's it.
true?
It's like,
Yeah.
like yeah, just like do the music,
That's who
right?
you
Like
are,
Michael.
bro? Oh, man. I thought you were
Yeah,
cool. You
I
suck.
wish I would have never known that Michael Jackson touched kids. Like, like,
Yeah. You
like he
killed
wrote
it,
some
bro.
great
Like, I don't
music.
even
Yeah, he
like you.
killed it. Yeah, I don't want to. I would rather not even know that. Like, I'd rather not know your political stance as
It's
musicians
kind of like,
nowadays.
dude, like, do I want to know if my girlfriend's cheating or would I just rather just never know and know it's all cool? You know what I mean? Do I really want to know if it don't hurt me? I don't know,
Yeah,
dude. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's funny.
That's funny. Good viewpoints, man. I've never ever thought of it through that perspective, bro. I like the I like the digging out some train of thought that you're digging into lately.
Well, yeah, I've been just like I said, because like I've noticed for myself that that not only my political preferences, but so many other preferences have changed as like as like I've become more focused in, more disciplined, more regimen, more caught up in personal development over the years. That like it's not just that, like it's just things that I would tolerate, right?
Yeah.
Like I think the more disciplined you are, the more consistent you are, the higher your self-worth. And the higher your self-worth, the less you tolerate. So you don't tolerate nonsense. You don't tolerate confused people running around doing confused things. You don't tolerate noise. You don't tolerate people's opinions
Yeah, because
that are
it's like
shit.
more like your time is so valuable. So like I'm not even like we're not even talking about that. Like, because my
No.
time is, like, so much more valuable than even, like, dealing with any what you're talking about. That's stupid, right?
100%. And
Totally.
so that was kind of what I was thinking about is like my preferences have changed. Like, my style's always stayed the same, but the clothes that I buy and wear has changed. Like my taste in music's always been the same, but I've opened myself up to more things that are more that are a little bit off of what I would normally put in my playlists.
Mm,
The books that I choose to read are different. Like the people I listen to. I've become far closer to God. And not only become closer to God, but like I'm physically going to church again because not because I think that you have to go to church to have a relationship with God, but I do
yeah,
believe that like being intentional about getting out of your home Sunday morning, going to
yeah,
church, and
agreed.
actually taking
Yeah,
that hour to focus on that. I feel like that's important. If you would have asked
yeah.
me, when I was caught up in self and a victim and all of that, like I would have given you every excuse as to why I couldn't make it to church.
Of
So
course,
these
well, like,
things,
nothing worth it is convenient.
no.
Like, nobody wants to go to church on Sunday, like, it would be nice to sit on the couch with your girl because 'cause they're pretty and, like, they're soft,
Now it's my favorite
but
thing. Sundays
right,
are my favorite. Nowadays,
I
like
know, that's what I mean,
I
but
like
it's,
I
like,
get up early.
inconvenience. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
You have to inconvenience yourself for it to be
Yep.
worth it.
So we go to the 10 o'clock service. I get up early and I let Christina take the time because it's early for her to get ready. So
Mm,
I go up, I get the boys dressed, make them look good. And while I let her stay in the room in our master bathroom and get dressed and get herself ready for church. She doesn't have to do anything. I'll bring her in breakfast into the bathroom and everything so that way we can leave because I want to be there at a certain time so I can get the best seat in the house. Like I'm like my
right.
grandpa. I'm so intentional about my Sunday mornings, just because like it has nothing to do with like being at church. Like, yeah, of course I want to be there, I want to worship, I want to learn and stuff like that. But it has more to do with like me going out of my way to feel like I'm to try to be closer to God. Right. It's like
Mm.
me like being so intentional to like how I dress the boys, how I dress myself, how I get up early and make Christina coffee and make sure that she's taken care of so she feels comfortable and looks good and presentable and whatever. Like I want everything to be intentional with that. I get the car, I get our new Yukon cleaned before we go to church. I want us to have a nice clean vehicle for us to drive in because the church we go to is 30 minutes away and for the boys to have like a movie playing in the background. Like I plan everything out every Saturday night. I lay my clothes out for church Saturday evening. And it has nothing to do with how much I love being at church. I do, but it has to do with I believe taking these intentional moments to bring me closer to God. But the point is that has become a preference of mine because I take it more seriously now. It's more important to me because of the work that I've poured into myself, because I
Right,
want to be intentional about these things. Those are the
right.
things that matter to me more, right? As opposed to Sunday's like my football day, and I'm going to sit on the couch all day and drink beer.
Oh, man.
And I'm
That
not
sounds like
saying that
hell.
I'm self-righteous. I'm not saying that I'm being self-righteous or I think I'm better than you.
We're
I'm
judging
just
people,
saying
yeah, I got
that
it.
that
Yeah,
that
yeah,
that
right.
my preference has shifted. The things that
Yeah.
I would tolerate
Meaning
when I
I want
was
something
when
more
I
than that.
right when I was unhappy with myself, the things that I would tolerate are a lot different than the things that I would tolerate now. Right.
Right,
So
totally. That's interesting, man. I love it, man. I love it. You've what I don't remember what it was. It was oh, you were gone last week, so the week before, whatever we were talking about, I was telling Liz, I'm like, oh,
she
I'm trying to
messaged
remember
me.
what huh?
She
Where
messaged me
where
about
I
it.
was like, wow, that's a very interesting thing. I had to think a lot
Yeah,
about it,
real
and I
quick,
did. I'm trying to
let's take a
remember what
couple
was
minutes.
it.
I mean, we got to wrap it up, but like let's take a couple minutes here yeah. So what I talked about was that people are inherently good people.
Oh, yeah, 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 that was great because I had like it was definitely like interesting because like and you were saying that you were thinking that like it was coming from me more than anything in a way like projecting kind of like blah blah blah. I was like, wow, that was a very interesting way. I'd had to think about it. It
Yeah,
was
yeah. No,
definitely
Liz
it
messaged me
made me think.
about that actually. She uh
Alyssa
she
did?
messaged me. Yeah,
Shut up.
yeah,
Oh my god, that's
yeah.
funny.
Yeah, she
How
said whatever
funny.
you said to JD, whatever you said to JD got him stuck in his head. And
I know, I like
and
that, dude, like, I like to think through
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
like,
so
like,
yeah,
conversations
the
that make me
concept was is
go,
that yeah, the concept
you know
was
what I
is
mean?
like we have this perception that most people are out to get, or most people are like that don't care about you, aren't rooting you on. Most people are whatever. And I said, no, that's not the case
No,
whatsoever.
you
Most
said
people
most people have
actually,
good credit. You said most people pay their bills, most people don't go to jail, and I was like, "Well, that" it was just I had never heard that put that way. Yeah, listen,
yeah.
I talked about it, I was like, "That was" yeah, I just it was a very interesting perspective that's very easy once you hear it, but I was like, maybe it is my perception of the situation, and I'm kinda, like, conjuring up some of my own bullshit.
What's funny is
That's
that
what I told her.
but what's funny is that most people are good people, but most people have a bad perception of people, which
Mhm.
is so like such a funny like thing to think about is like to think like I'm a good person, but I think everybody sucks or everybody's like a bad person, right? But it's like so what? There's nobody else that's good like you. Like it's such a
Yeah,
narcissistic way to
self-righteous.
look at life.
Yeah,
It
dude,
really
right?
is. It really is.
Right.
So, but anyways, we should probably wrap this up. We
I
went
love it,
a little
man.
bit
Well,
long.
good stuff, dude. It always makes me think, brother. It's good to see you. I'm rooting for you and Christina. If I can obviously help in any way, let me know. And anything else before we split?
I think that's it. I think we had a great talk here, guys. Listen, this is I want to make this very clear. This is just my what I've seen. This is not I don't hate anybody. I don't disrespect anybody.
Opinion.
It's my this is my opinion of what I have literally seen from working with thousands of people and the shifts that they've made in their lives and their preferences and things like that. This is only observation. Okay. And this it's personal story too, right? Like this happened to me as well. So I want to make it very clear if you guys are like, well, fuck, this guy hates liberals. No, that's not the case whatsoever. It's weird, but it's not that's not what I believe. What I believe is that your preferences shift when you start to lean into accountability and personal development. I believe the things that you tolerate shift when you start to lean into personal development and
Because you
self-awareness.
find more worth.
You find more worth, you realize that you will tolerate less, and you realize that the things that were once making you confused, frustrated, and angry, it's because you were simply confused. And when your eyes are opened up to what really matters, God, family, faith, fitness, all of
Right.
these things, right? Like that's when things start to kind of come into perspective for you and it shifts. And those things that matter, those true values tend to be further right leaning.
Yeah.
And
It shit
that's
is
why
what it
we hit
is.
it is what it is.
It is
It
what it
is
is,
what
man.
it is. It's
Right?
the common sense world that we live in. And as you start to gain common sense from dealing with common things, you start to realize what is a little bit goofy and so on and so forth. So that's all.
I love that.
It's just what I've seen. So if you guys
No,
liked
nobody should
this,
ever care about an opinion anyway. We're allowed to have
mm,
a difference of
oh
opinions.
yeah.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
anyways, if you guys like this, make sure you click subscribe, make sure you comment, share, do all the things that you got to do to help us out. And we'll continue to feed you guys with some of our antics and behaviors. And we'll see you next time on the Sick Boys podcast.
Only love.